Hello, hello, and welcome to Oracle Hour. My name is Sabrina Rising. I'm a spiritual mentor and a psychic medium, and it's my honor to channel spirit on your behalf. Welcome to the Sunday night edition of Oracle Hour. I don't know about you, if you're feeling the heaviness in the air around this blood moon eclipse that we're going into tonight. I believe around just after 11 o'clock Pacific, we can see it in the sky. It's a very intense energy, very heavy, laden with the kind of bringing to our attention the unseen, all the patterns that we want to let go of, the things that we want to release. This is what full moons are for, is about letting go of things that are no longer serving us, and allowing the process of this blood moon eclipse to really cleanse that and to really bring us into focus so that we can really just move forward in this phase of our collective evolution with only the things that really serve us, only things that really bring us joy, that align with our essence. And we're going to be talking about this tonight. We're going to be talking about the purpose of having a spiritual practice. In the meantime, welcome everybody. Welcome new members and old members. It's good to see you. Shiloh, hello. Jenna, Crystal, hello. Hi, Patty. Nice to see you. I'm going to do one more thing that I always do to make sure we are live on Instagram as well. Here we go. All right, beautiful. Okay, so thank you everybody for joining me. It's good to be with you. Again, as you know, put your questions in the chat. We answer them on a first come, first serve basis. If you're watching live on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram and you want to join the broadcast, you want to have your question answered, or you just want to be part of the community and be supported in this collective reading that I'm going to do tonight, including individual messages as well, then please join us on YouTube at Sabrina Rising. My trusted moderator, Lorraine, is here, and she's in charge of your questions, and she will just prioritize members and, of course, put your question on screen so I can address each one as they come. Okay. If you're here for a live reading and you have your question in the chat already, or you're considering doing that, please stay on to validate. This is so important when I'm offering readings and channeling messages. If you're here and we're interacting, the energy really moves and it really flows, and I can give you more. We can go more in depth and in detail with whatever's happening in your life. Okay. So if you've just come and posted a question, then you plan on coming back and watching later, I'll be just sharing what I feel in the moment, and you'll be getting just exactly what I give you. And if there's no interaction, then it just kind of tapers off and I move on to the next question. Okay. So just a little bit of housekeeping, maintenance, sort of logistical instructions in terms of how to make the most of Oracle Hour. Okay. The other thing I wanted to say as well, for those of you that are here for mediumship connections, if you know that you want a message from someone in spirit, I don't always guarantee those. You're better off booking a one-to-one mediumship reading with me, or coming to a mediumship event where we can interact on screen and I can channel for you that way. Having said that, if it's your turn and I'm interacting with you and I'm answering your questions, if someone is here in the spirit realm that wants to come forward, that wants to convey a message, of course, I will always give you the message. I will not say no. I'll tell you exactly what I feel and exactly how I feel it. And that happens often on the show. Okay. So I like to leave it open. And I also like to manage expectations as well. So, and if you know that you want that mediumship connection, that deep interaction with your loved one in spirit, that a mediumship reading is so much more conducive to that, there's a link to book a reading. Okay. For those of you that want to join me on screen, this is a fun thing that we've been doing. There is the link to join me on screen, to join me live, so that we can interact. And, of course, we can go deeper with your question. We can have a live conversation that benefits not only you and me, our community and the collective, and anybody watching. Okay. So as I mentioned, even if you don't have a question for tonight, just stay and enjoy the entire broadcast, because the answers, the questions that come in through the community and the answers that come through spirit are for everybody. Okay, this is what, if you're going through it, everybody's going through it to varying degrees. Those of us that are here tonight, everybody watching live, and whether you're, watching with a question or you're just observing, there is a common thread that unites us. All right. This is always the case. I see this every Oracle hour, every group class, every workshop I facilitate, every psychic gallery, every mediumship event. Whenever there is a large group of people that get together, there is a message for everyone. There's always a common theme. Okay. So tonight we're going to open up this common theme with talking about the importance of having a spiritual practice. Okay. Why do we connect with spirit? What is the point of connecting with spirit? What is the point of receiving messages, of asking for guidance? Why is this such an important part of our healing journey? And obviously, this is something that I would want for all beings everywhere, is to have a spiritual practice so that we can all know the benefit of receiving clarity, going through the healing process that's required for our evolution, for us human beings to make the most of this incarnation, and to hear the truth of what we may not be either willing to face, something we've probably been avoiding for quite some time, or not wanting to look at, resisting, or perhaps it's just completely in your blind spot that you don't really know how to access this information. This is the point of having a spiritual practice. It's the point of doing this work and of receiving channeled messages. Okay, so sorry, I just lost my screen. Here we go. I'm back. All right. So the point of having a spiritual practice, we channel spirit for there are three main gifts that spirit gives us. Okay. So clarity. So the ability to hear, feel, see, to remove the fog from your confusion, to get clear answers to the questions that you have from spirit, whatever you're grappling with in your daily life. And this is something that I always encourage. If you're watching live, or even if you're watching the replay, make a note of some of these areas that might be causing some confusion in your life. Okay. So it's really important that you work with me as you're listening to this broadcast so that you can receive the most of the messages that come through for you. So what are some of the areas in your life that are really causing a lot of confusion, that are keeping you stuck, that are keeping you in struggle, and often creating a lot of suffering? Okay, so this is the point of a spiritual practice, is to gain clarity. And we do this by learning to be still, to get quiet, to lean into our own internal landscape, to feel through the waves of emotions, and to ask these questions that, perhaps we may not be fully asking ourselves. Okay, so sorry, pardon me. 1 second. I'll be right back.
Now the answer is no.
Okay, sorry. I just got my 8-year-old decided to ask me a question right at this moment. Sorry, I'm back live with you. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so we're talking about the importance of having a spiritual practice. So we develop a practice so we can gain clarity for the answers that we have, for the questions that we have, whatever issue it is that you might be grappling with in your everyday life. Okay, the second most important reason to have a spiritual practice is for you to for you to embrace your healing process, whatever that is for you. Okay. So once you receive the clarity will give you the guidance that allows you to really allow for the healing to take place. Healing is not something that we actively do. It's more something that we allow based on the clarity that we are provided throughout our spiritual practice. I was talking about developing inner stillness and quiet and going into perhaps a daily meditation. Again, I say this all the time, it doesn't have to be a big long thing. It can just be 5 to 10 minutes of stillness, of closing your eyes and taking some deep diaphragmatic breaths, and simply allowing yourself to connect with the spirit realm. And what that looks like is learning to feel, learning to sense, learning to listen to whatever sensations you might be experiencing. And if you're doing that, if you're even just taking 5-10 minutes to do that, you're already connecting with spirit. Now it's just a matter of trusting the information that comes through, trusting the clarity that you're being given when you bring questions to your practice. For example, let's say you have a question about, is this the right job for me, or is this the right relationship for me, or is this, is it time for me to move, or whatever your question is for spirit. You can sit down and develop this inner stillness and this inner quiet, taking some deep diaphragmatic breaths, and just bring your question to spirit and really feel for sensations in the body. Okay, you might feel a lot of nervousness. You might feel some contractions on a cellular level. These are all these sensations are all normal. And the more you breathe and relax, the more you settle into your own energy, the more you'll receive clarity, images, guidance, instructions, even audible messages about what to do next. This is why it's so important to have a practice that connects you to something beyond your 3D, so you can gain the clarity that you seek. I can channel answers on your behalf, and of course, I love to do that, but everybody has access to this information if they develop a practice and really learn how to lean into their own intuitive guidance. Okay, so again, 5 to 10 minutes of inner stillness, meditation, quiet. And if you're someone who struggles with meditation, and so many of my clients do, you're not alone. Okay. Meditation is not about learning to quiet the mind. It's about learning to be equanimous with a mind that will never be still, learning to stay centered in your own energy as you observe all of your thoughts without engaging them, without identifying with them, and just staying in the flow of whatever it is that you're receiving. You'll notice that there's two aspects of you. There is the awareness, which is always still, it's always present, it's always aware, hence awareness. And then there's the part of you that is experiencing life. And the experiencer is caught up in the waves of emotion. It's caught up in the highs and the lows, and the fear and it can be the reaction, whatever your trigger is in this moment. Okay, so that's the experience you're having. The experience is giving you information about how to get back to your peace, how to get back to your inner peace. This is all we're ever trying to do as human beings, is get back to our inner peace. How do I find peace in this moment? How do I find peace in this situation? How do I find peace in this current problem that I'm trying to solve? Okay, this is what we all deeply desire. With all of the questions that come through in all of their variations, really always point to the same thing. How do I find peace in this situation? So have that be your context for your spiritual practice. Allow the spiritual practice that you're going to establish to be your North Star for finding inner peace in each moment. Okay. And so we want to be able to receive messages allow our spiritual practice to give us clarity. We're going to do that through practice. It's not an overnight thing. So don't be impatient if it doesn't work out right away, or if it doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. If you feel like you're just sitting there and nothing's happening. Okay. This is normal. So don't get discouraged. I want you to stay in your spiritual practice, stay committed to just breathing and tuning into the different sensations of the body, and until the energy starts to become less dense and starts to become more awake and alive for you. Okay, this is where you'll start to experience perhaps visions, like I mentioned, audible messages, and ideas about what to do next, whether it's a yes or a no. You can start with that as a simple practice as well. That's also very effective for any questions that you might have for your whatever it is that you're struggling with. Okay, and this allows for the healing process to take place. So the clarity gives way to healing. Healing happens when we allow, right? When I hear a message, or I receive a reading, or something is channeled for me, perhaps like tonight, for example, or in your own practice, when you receive the guidance, you allow it to instigate a healing process, right? Perhaps it's something you need to let go of, or something you need to fully feel, and something you need to meet with compassion and empathy, okay, which I talk about all the time. Meet your uncomfortable emotions with compassion and non-judgment and deep empathy for self. So allow that to give way to your healing process. And then, ultimately, we want to be able to sit in the truth of it. And the truth is, ultimately, what we're getting to is always the truth of who we are, right? So outside of all of our struggles, beyond our conditioning, lies the essence of who we are, the truth of who we are. And this is, again, what's going to give us access to this deep inner peace that we're all trying to find. Whatever it is that you're going after, whatever your deepest desire is, whatever you're trying to create or trying to accomplish, we're in one way or another trying to arrive at a place of feeling completely at peace with ourselves, whether it's at peace with my finances, at peace with my relationships, at peace with my career or my life purpose. Ultimately, I want to find peace with myself, and that's going to look different for everybody. Okay. And it's very important that we understand also in our healing journey that there is not one process that works for everybody in the same way. Okay, so your meditation practice is going to look different than mine. It might look different than someone else's. Your inner work journey can feel like you're taking, 2 steps forward and 10 steps back. This is very normal. It's not meant to be a linear thing. The point of having a spiritual practice is that it connects you to your own intimate relationship with spirit, with your higher self, with universal intelligence, if you will. To me, these are all synonyms of each other. And in that intimate dialogue, you are receiving the information that you specifically need for your own unique journey in the way that you need it, at the time that you need it, in a way that you can understand it and assimilate it so that you can have the deepest healing experience that you are intending for, that you're calling in. Okay. And of course, this is very unique for you. You might have 2 people do the same, coaching program or healing program and come out with a completely different experience or different results or having gotten different insights. This is normal. We all have our own healing journey. Okay. So part of the message in this is to not get discouraged. So when you start, you're creating your spiritual practice, you start getting very serious about listening to universal intelligence and leaning into higher self and your own inner compass and developing this relationship with self. Ultimately, yes, relationship with spirit is a relationship with self, higher self. It becomes the most important relationship, hopefully becomes the most important relationship that you've ever cultivated in your life. And this will give way to you being able to come, to terms with your own answers, to step into your own alignment, to trust what feels good, to trust that you're on the right path, and to ultimately trust yourself. Okay. And we can find peace with ourselves when we do that. Okay. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you everybody for hanging in with me. Sorry for the earlier interruption. And I see we have some questions already. This is beautiful. Okay, Lorraine, I'm going to take a sip of water. And let's get going. All right. Hi, Patty. Good to see you. Patty says, hello, Sabrina. Regarding manifestation, it makes sense that we should be cautious about what we want to manifest. Okay. I question if I'm in the right place to practice this, but how can I be sure? Continued. Okay. Let's hear what else you have to say about it. I was involved with someone who showed true colors again. There is no future with him, but I don't want to inadvertently long for it. He is out. I don't want to ruin progress made in healing. That's my example of why I don't want to make sure I don't want to be led by my emotions. Okay. Okay. So can you bring the first part of her question up on screen? Thank you. Okay, Patty. So regarding manifestation, so here's the thing. There's no such thing about being cautious of what you want to manifest unless you're not in charge of, unless you don't have full sovereignty over what you truly deeply desire. Okay. So the only time, we say be careful what you wish for example, in our society is because people are not intentional with their energy, with their thoughts. We don't really know deeply what we desire or what we truly want. If you are holding the frequency for example, we're talking about relationships with Patty. So if you're holding the frequency for a deep and meaningful relationship with a like-minded person who shares your values, okay, that's a solid intention, solid frequency. You want to hold that frequency and you're practicing doing the work to embody that, which means you're saying no to everything that doesn't align with everything I just said, whatever your intention is. For example, let's say we're using that one. You're saying no to everything that's not that. You're holding yourself accountable. You're honoring yourself. You're staying in alignment with this intention. Then there's no need to be cautious because you're already holding the frequency for that. So this is your standard. Okay. So If you are discovering that you're in a relationship with somebody and this is not working out, or it's not really what you want, what you deeply desire, it seems like you've already been able to deduce that he's not meeting you at your that point of reciprocity, that point of shared values, then you can just move on from there and continue to stay open and intentional with your energy, trusting that the more you stay in alignment with what you say you want, the more likely you are to call that into your life. Okay. So, but from your question and the energy of your question, there's still some wounding there. Like there's still some you needing to develop what it means to really embody the intention. I want to, and I say this with love and respect, I want to venture to say that I don't think you fully know what that means yet. I think you're still grappling with honoring yourself and, as you said, not longing for something. Okay. So if you're longing for something outside of you, if you're coming from a place of lack, you're going to attract a situation that instigates more lack, feelings of lack within you. So that relationship won't feel fulfilling, or that situation won't feel fulfilling. Okay. Patty says, that's my concern. Yes, you are right. Okay, good. So yeah. Can you hear me now? Okay. Was I muted this whole time? Oh my goodness. Okay. Patty, can you hear me? Where's Patty? Okay, here we go. Comments. Okay. Okay. So Patty, should I address the question again? Should I address it again? Okay. So can you bring it up on the screen again? Go. There we go. Does it make sense? Okay. Here we go. Just this comment. Okay. Okay, good. So continued. I was involved with someone who showed true colors again. There's no future with him, but I don't want to inadvertently long for it. He is out. I don't want to ruin progress made in healing. Okay, good. So did you hear any of the part that I just answered, or no? Just the last part. Okay, good. Thank you for being here. Okay, good. All right, beautiful. So again, I want you to focus. You're not ready for a relationship, is what I'm trying to say to you. And again, I say this with love and respect, that what I'm being called to tell you is that you need to meet yourself first. So you want to attract someone into your life that can meet you where you've already met yourself. And if you haven't already met yourself there's no point. If you're coming from a place of lack and longing, you're going to attract you might attract someone who's also in lack and longing, and that relationship is going to mirror lack and longing. It's going to feel unfulfilling. You're both going to be looking to each other for a sense of completion, for a sense of fulfillment, rather than coming to the relationship feeling already fulfilled, feeling already whole, right? So Patty says, I agree with you. Okay, so this is so important. And again, I get the whole world of where you're sitting in right now as I'm channeling for you, Patty. Like there is a sense of being alone, you've given all of this time to raising your kids. You've been single for a very long time. You're an empty nester now, and you're kind of left with yourself, with your energy, with your time, and you're questioning, like, where do I go from here? What is, like, really putting the emphasis on how does Patty get her own needs met, right? Putting yourself first, which is new for you, right? Still relatively new for you. So I want you to put your attention on that, building the relationship you have with yourself. Okay. I understand the need for companionship and, to go out and feel connected to other people and, to sort of mitigate a sense of loneliness. We all need community. I'm not saying don't have friends. You can go out and have friends. You can actually go out and have coffees and, go on first dates with men and tell them in full transparency, I'm not ready really to engage in a deep and meaningful relationship right now. I just really want to be friends or, feel like being social or want to keep it light. As you continue to develop this relationship with yourself, it might actually be good for you to practice keeping it light until you can really feel like you can trust yourself to embody the energy of what it's like to meet yourself in unconditional love. Meet yourself at the standard of love that you want to hold in all of your relationships. Okay. There's no point seeking that outside of yourself if you're not embodying it. Okay. It's going to continue to disappoint you. Patty says, yes. And sense of lovingly encourage me to get a life. Okay. Beautiful. I love that. So the life that I want you to get starts with you. It starts with your own inner work journey. It starts with your own healing process. Patty, I highly recommend you come and do some inner work with me. There is an opportunity to do so. If you go to my one-on-one page, you can book any one of those programs. Okay. Patty says, that sounds good to me. Yeah. So you are the relationship that you want to cultivate and develop. Fall in love with you first. And when you do that, of course, here's the simple answer to your question. I could have led with that. Fall in love with yourself first, and then you'll attract the person that is also going to fall in love with where you have fallen in love with yourself. Okay. People can only love us to the degree that we love ourselves. All right. Even if they try to love us in parts that we don't love about ourselves, we can't receive it. Okay, so it's really important that you feel that you hear that in all of the cells in your body. Allow yourself to really feel the depth of what I just shared. Okay, we must love ourselves fully in order to receive the love that's really going to amplify and feel that create that feeling of fulfillment that we're looking for. Okay. I plan to. Beautiful, Patty. I can't wait to see you. All right, good. And the link for the one-to-ones is somewhere. Lori has that. She's going to put that up soon. There we go. Perfect. There's the readings with Sabrina. There you go. Okay. You're welcome, Patty. It's so good to have you here. And thank you for your beautiful question. And I hope that was helpful for everyone in the community. Okay, good. Hi, Donna Marie. Donna Marie says, hi, Sabrina. I'm having a real hard time sleeping. I'm sorry to hear that, Donna. I just can't. I think you can't relax. Do you think it's a lunar eclipse? I mean, for sure. I'm having a hard time sleeping too. I don't want to blame everything on the stars. I find that sometimes in spiritual community, we have a tendency to do that. I think there's so much going on. I think it's more what this season and what the astrological influence might be stirring up in you that's causing some sleeplessness. I think there's some things about, when I tune into your energy, what I'm feeling is like, am I on the right path? Am I doing all the right things? Like, there's this sort of sense of urgency that I feel, that might be unconscious for you, where you feel like there's so much to do and there's so much to create and there's so much to cultivate. Of course, the full moon energy can bring on a lot of this intensity. You're not the only one who's feeling it. Donna Marie says, yeah, very busy mind. Okay, so that's why you're not sleeping, right? And it's impossible to sleep with a mind that's overactive. So I would recommend doing some sleep hypnosis, meditations at night before you go to bed, making sure you have good sleep hygiene. So of course, no electronics, all the things, right, that we know how to do. And in the meantime, I would, in your case specifically, I would work on your letter to spirit. So your letter to that I know that you're writing, a letter to the spirit realm how you want your life to unfold. Okay. So it's not just about how you want to work with spirit, it's also about how you want your life to unfold. What is it that you need at this time? Or, just kind of like writing out all the things that you want to accomplish, all the things that you want to create, whatever your intentions are, so that you're not the only one holding this energy, so that you're in a collaborative relationship. This is perfect that you're asking this question, because tonight we're talking about what's the point of having a spiritual practice? Why is it so important to gain clarity, to instigate the healing cycle, and to be sit in the truth of not only what we're meant to be, who we're meant to be, how we're meant to express ourselves, but the essence of who we are. Donna Marie says, I've been doing the meditations. It's not working. The breath isn't working either. Okay. So it's not working. It's not working, or are you resisting it? Because breath always works in terms of, what it does, right? So you're breathing, and you're the breath is working in the sense where you're and we're talking about diaphragmatic breathing, specifically, right? So we're talking about the deep diaphragmatic breathing, hand on the heart, hand on the belly, breathing in and out of the diaphragm. Do it with me now, Donna. Okay, do it with me now. I love you too. So do it with me now. Big diaphragmatic breathing. Okay, just breathing in. I could use it too. But let's breathe into the belly. Exhale through the mouth. You can let out a sound as well, just to let go of any tension. Okay. Keeping in mind that meditation is not about clearing your mind. It's about learning to be okay with a mind that will never be clear. There's always going to be chatter. There's always going to be thoughts. What we get better at is creating the gap between the awareness and our experience, the chatter and our sensation of the breath, our presence, our ability to stay in the present moment, in the here and now, which is always perfectly still. Noise kind of happens all around us, but what's here and now and what's always present for us is our stillness. Okay, so I read your mind just now. Perfect. I love that we're having this telepathic conversation. For those of you that don't know, Donna Maria is my mediumship mentee student who is now developing her own mediumship practice. It's always good to have you here, and I appreciate your questions. This is what's going on for you. Okay, so I want you to really put your hand on your heart. You're doing the diaphragmatic breathing, but you're not doing the self-soothing and giving yourself compassion, right? And really loving yourself and honoring yourself and allowing yourself to be perfectly still, right? And trusting that there is a divine unfolding. This isn't just for Donna Marie, it's for everybody that's watching, anyone who's listening at any point. Everything's always unfolding in the perfect time and in the perfect way. And when you have this context for your life, we can relax. We can trust that I'm always exactly where I'm supposed to be, having the experience I'm supposed to have. Okay. And Donna Marie says, yeah, I have a hard time with that. That's because you're resisting it. The reason you're having trouble sleeping, we'll just summarize this conversation so that you have clarity, is because you are resisting your spiritual practice. You are in your head about what to do instead of feeling it in your body and trusting that right now it's supposed to feel this way, and that's okay. All right. Donna Marie says, yes, you're right. I don't know how to do that. Give myself grace or calmness. Okay. This is such an important part of your journey. And especially if you want to hold space for other people, Donna Marie, we have to practice giving ourselves room to be human, giving ourselves space, being grounded and centered, and giving ourselves compassion. It's so important, right? When you're offering this guidance to another person and you're saying, be gentle with yourself, love yourself, you're only human, right? You have to be coming from experience, right? And it has to be an as-lived thing. Otherwise, it's just information. Does that make sense? So practice relationship with self. Again, there is another theme in our broadcast tonight. So spiritual practice, the point of it is to really cultivate this relationship with yourself so that you can gain clarity, you can hear the messages, you can trust the messages, you can instigate the healing, and ultimately tap into the truth of who you are. All right. Donna Marie says, that's easy for me to give to others. Yeah, well, I know, but we give to others what we need most for ourselves, right? So I want you to, challenge this week, what I'm inviting you to step into is being really gentle and loving with yourself, very soft, very loving, very openly curious about what's going on in the night when you have trouble sleeping. And I do this as well on the nights when I have trouble sleeping, is I just kind of sit with myself and go, okay, what do I need? What's going on? Do I need a breath? Do I need a glass of water? Do I need to just trust in spirit? Do I need to channel some guidance for myself? Do I need to just listen to my inner self? What's happening? Gentle, soft curiosity and the grace to be human what's going to take the urgency or the tendency to panic about why can't I sleep or what's going on or what's wrong with me. It's going to dissolve that way of thinking and just allow you to stay in equanimity, to be sort of, to be okay if you sleep and okay if you don't sleep. Okay. And that'll create a huge breakthrough for you. Okay. To just be in that equanimous place, and always bringing you back to your center. Okay. Donna Marie, that's my guidance for you. Thank you for asking such beautiful questions. I will work on that. Good. Beautiful. I look forward to hearing about it. Excellent. Okay. Hi, Shiloh. Hi, Beauty and Oracle family. Good to see you. Did you see my current appointment getting due? You see my current apartment, I think you mean, not appointment, getting rented out before my move, September 20th. Any messages from spirit for me? Okay. So the message for you tonight, if you were here from the beginning, is all about cultivating spiritual practice. It's all about, learning to lean into your higher self and to stay in that place of knowing and trusting that you are provided for every step of the way. Okay. So even the energy behind the question is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? Is that going to happen? And I know that there's a lot of concern about making sure that all the parts work together. But I challenge you, Shiloh, after all these months of working together and you being part of our community, you have been provided for every step of the way, right? So you've always received exactly what you needed as soon as you needed it, and not a moment too soon and not a moment too late, right? And so this is true. So with that, having said that, that's how I want to answer your question tonight. Will your apartment get rented out before September 20th? So let me give you my spiritual guidance, and I'll give you my psychic hit. I want to say yes, and like yes with a caveat. Like there is a strong possibility it will be rented out, and it's not so simple. Like it's not like somebody just walks in and takes it. There is something to do, or perhaps some repairs or something to get it ready for this, or perhaps there's you listing it yourself. There's like an extra step that needs to happen in order for that to that's the guidance I'm getting from spirit. So, and I always love to answer these questions in two ways. So I hear that my spiritual guidance is to continue to trust that you're provided for and that everything's going to fall into place exactly as you need it and exactly as you want it. And in order to create an effortless transition for you and for the person moving in and for your landlord. And in the meantime, my psychic hit is it's a yes, and there is an extra step or something else for you to do or prepare to facilitate this. So you're not off the hook yet with this place. Some have not passed the screening due to their credit. I see. Yeah. So I don't know what the extra step is, but it's a bit more, there's one more technicality, and it could be, it could be you subleasing it, to someone before they can fully take it over themselves or something like that. But there is a way around this to make it work for you so that you can be out of there. And the other thing I want to say to you, Shiloh, is don't rush moving. Okay. So this is so important for those of you, on a manifestation, journey, metaphysical journey, healing journey. if you have to force the outcome, it's not in the flow. Okay. And if it's not in the flow, it's not in your highest and best good. Spirit will push you right back where you need to be, so you can stop and have to sort of revisit certain aspects of yourself, your inner life, do the actions that you take the actions that you need to take in order to be in integrity with whatever it is you're calling in. Okay. I shall says I can't set lease. Okay. So yeah, I mean, there's some way I am responsible to pay due to my lease. Okay. So yeah, so then, this is what I want to say to you. Don't try to force an outcome. This is why this is coming through for you. Okay. So if it's not in the flow and you can't move now, then stay where you are and commute, or find a different, there's something else available here that's you're not seeing. Okay. It's so important. We don't want to try to make something happen. And if you find yourself in that energy where you're trying to force a circumstance, or you're trying to manipulate outcomes, you're not in the flow, and you're not listening, and you're not honoring the divine organic unfolding of things. Okay. So I do feel like there's a strong possibility. I want to say yes, that there will be someone that will take over your apartment, but I want you, in the meantime, your energetics to kind of lean back and trust that only the right person will move into this place, and it's going to serve everybody's highest and best good, everybody involved. It's important when we look at situations like this that everybody's getting their needs met, not just you, right? Also the tenant and the landlord, everyone is getting their needs met. So we want to make sure that we leave this, like I said, in integrity. Okay. So I already have a lease at new place. Okay. Gotcha. So, yeah. So, and again, you feel the situation you put yourself in, right? There's now there's this tension, right? And so this is something that I want to say, Spirit says this is something you keep creating, like a situation where now there's stress, right? So, I really want you to have effortlessness and ease and flow in your life. I feel like I said, my answer is the same. I feel like the apartment will be rented, but there's an extra step here, okay, that needs to happen in order for someone to take this to be able to take on this lease, okay. But in the meantime, I want you to trust and know that all will be well, because you've been provided for this whole time. So why should that change now? Okay. So continue your inner work practice and continue to work through the fear and stay in alignment, and just know that if you're meant to move and you're meant to have this place and you're meant to move forward, that all will be taken care of. Okay. That's my message for you, Shiloh. Okay. Good. Next question. Hi, Crystal, 1983. Hi, Sabrina. Do you see me getting over this heartbreak and being joyful and peaceful again soon? All right, let me see what I have for you, Crystal. Let me take a glass of water, some sip of water. I mean, okay, so will you get over the heartbreak? Yes, of course you're going to get over the heartbreak. How long this process takes and what's required in order to facilitate to accelerate this healing for you is entirely up to you and your free will. Okay, so part of what's happening is you're still ruminating. Okay, so you're still kind of dwelling on what could have and what should have, and perhaps if I had done this differently or that differently, like even though the relationship's over, I feel like you're not complete. Okay. Like you haven't fully forgiven yourself, perhaps. And this is, again, part of the reason why we channel spirit is to bring forward what's unseen. Okay. What do we not have access to? What is the thing that I'm blocking, or that is living in my unconscious, that is sort of sabotaging my efforts, in my everyday life. And I think that there's a part of you that you haven't fully healed your own heart, because you're still attached, or you're still dwelling or having ruminating thoughts. And this is normal when you're in a grieving process. But what's going to accelerate your grieving process is just trusting that you made the right choice. Like, I feel this so strongly for you. Okay. That, 100%, this was the best thing that could have happened for both of you. And yeah, I want you to resist the temptation to reach back out, resist the temptation to get in touch and all that stuff. Like the energy is so still entangled. Okay. So it would be good for you to do some, cord cutting and some releasing of, the mourning, the loss of the relationship that you were hoping you were going to have. Okay. With this person, and just letting that go, and just trusting that if it didn't work out, it's because it wasn't supposed to work out, and there's something better out there for you. Okay. This is really what I want you to put your attention to, is that I forgive myself for how I showed up, for what I allowed, for all the things that for staying longer than I should have, perhaps. And here's what everything I learned about this relationship, all the lessons that I'm so grateful for. This will help the completion process. It will help you let go and really find yourself ready for joy and for experiencing love, deep love within yourself first. And I always advocate for this, to make sure that you have enough time to really recalibrate and learn to be in love with yourself and be in your own energy before you start to create relationship with someone else. Okay. It's very, very, very important that once we break up, that we spend appropriate time grieving and allowing being in active grief. Okay. Not just passive grief where you're kind of suffering and hoping for things to get better and hoping for tomorrow to be easier and so on. So many people are in passive grief when they're trying to recover from a breakup. I want you to be in active grief, which means allowing for those emotions to come through you, allowing for you to experience the full range of them with compassion and non-judgment, being soft with yourself, cry as much as you need to, journal as much as you need to, and let go of those ruminating thoughts so that you can move on with your own process and just be at peace with what happened. Okay, so you need to be in active grief. Okay, this is my message for you, and this will help accelerate the healing, and you will start to find joy again. Of course, you're going to start to find joy too if you what will help as well is if you start to go out and spend some time with friends, go be in nature, go. It's normal to isolate when we're going through these experiences. It's so important for you to stay in community, especially for you, Crystal. Okay, I really encourage you to be with your community, be with your friends, lean into support. You've got so much love and support around you. I want you to take advantage of it. Okay, Crystal, that's my message for you tonight. Okay, beautiful. Okay, Jenna. Jenna says, hi, Sabrina. I saw my son's initials while walking my dog and felt his presence. Oh, I love that. I know I'm being guided. Just checking on your connection. Thank you. Just checking on our connection. Okay. Yeah. I love that you felt the presence of your son. And I want you to talk to him more. So talk to him and you can say, I would love a message from you today, or I'd love a sign from you today. These are things that can work, especially if you believe in them. Okay. Which it sounds like you do. If you really intend for, you can trust that, this experience of losing your son is really putting you on the path of opening yourself up spiritually and connecting even mediumistically to him and perhaps to other loved ones, and just you having a deep dialogue with, or this is what we're talking about tonight, is having a spiritual practice, developing our own intimate relationship with our higher selves as a source of comfort and reassurance and support, and leaning into that for your guidance. Okay. I think this is so, so, so important. And yeah, there's, I feel like there are things that of his as well that you still have perhaps in your home. I don't know if it feels like his room is kind of still intact or something like that. Like there's some of his things that are still together. I think this will help your connection as well, to go and sit with him and to go and visit with him, and to do that as often as you need to until it starts to feel like you're just visiting with him and sitting with him. It's less painful and not as heartbreaking and as grief producing as it has been. But now it starts to become a something that brings you joy, something that you look forward to, something that brings you a sense of comfort and closeness to him. Okay, so that's what I would encourage for your practice and for your healing journey, including that in your spiritual practice, is really starting this dialogue with him, if you haven't already, where you're asking for signs and you're asking, show me, you know, give me a sign that you're with me, or show me something that would, a reminder of our relationship or our connection, or show me that you're okay, those kind of things, right? You can still talk to him like he's here. And I encourage that with everyone who has lost loved ones in spirit, to talk to them like they're here, because they are, right? The imprint of that relationship has never left. It's never dissolved. It's never, it's forever exists in universal intelligence. The record of that relationship exists forever in universal intelligence. And your son wants you to know that. And he wants you to lean into him, so that you can feel as close as you've always been. Okay. This is very important for your practice. Okay, Jenna? Good. Beautiful. Any other? Hi, Rhonda. There's a whole conversation happening here in the community. Jenna says, this really resonated, having spiritual practice. Do you think time in AM or PM is better? I'm glad it resonated for you. I love the morning for this, but it really depends. Like, I'm going to have my own ritual tonight because it's the full moon. So whenever you feel called to sit with your own energy, keeping in mind that a spiritual practice is not you developing a connection to something that lives outside of you. It's just you sitting in your own energy and leaning in to the sensations that you experience in your body, so that you can sift through the density of it, whether it's your ruminating thoughts or your own reactivity or your physical sensations, the discomfort of that, or whatever it takes for you to kind of get settled in and calm and centered, using the diaphragmatic breath to help you find that place of center. His initials were engraved on the side. Oh, beautiful. I love that. Yeah, those are signs. So as I was saying, I like the morning because it's the beginning of the day and you've just had sleep, and it's, that time before you engage your daily activities. It's a wonderful way to set intentions. You can have a practice in the morning, or you can also have a practice at night if you have the space for it and the time for it, which it feels like you do. Okay. So I love that. I love that you encountered his initials, and he's encouraging you to talk to him more, and he's encouraging you to develop your practice more, and to feel more of his presence, and to continue to ask for signs. I think it's really going to open up your view, your perspective of death. We talked about this a few weeks ago about what happens when we die, that there really is no separation. Right. And we're always connected to each other in eternal love. Okay. So I love this for you, Jenna. And I love that you shared it with us tonight. Okay. Thank you for being here. Beautiful. Okay. BJ. Hi, BJ. BJ says, hi, Sabrina. Hope all is well with you. I'm wondering if my flight and visit to see my son will go well. Also, what are my spirit guides saying? Okay. I think we talked before. I think you were the one who had there was someone who had a fear of flying. It feels like it's you. So, here's my psychic hit on your flight, is that everything will be well, and I want you to develop a spiritual practice, like, as again, perfectly on point with what we talked about at the beginning of the broadcast. Develop a practice, even just the mindfulness part of it, the deep diaphragmatic breathing, the inner stillness, and the getting, going through your sensations and making sure that you are grounded and centered in that place of calm. Okay. So there is so much transformation for you just kind of working with this idea of flying. All right. Anything that we are very afraid of, or anything that brings up a big trigger for us, is just a beautiful body of work. It's a wonderful opportunity for us to kind of work through that and find our point of center. Okay. And once you let go of this fear, it's actually going to open up a lot of other things for you in your life as well. Okay. So, fear, if you have fear in one area, you have it in multiple areas. Okay. Is what I'm trying to say. So, I do feel the flight's going to be okay overall. And I feel like you're going to be ready for it. So please listen to the guidance and implement the instructions. Do the practice, engage in a mindful breathing practice daily. I'll be traveling alone. Hubs can't go. giving me angst. Yeah, yeah. It's perfect that he can't come. It's absolutely perfect. This is the benevolence of the universe. It always sets it up perfectly so that we can deal with ourselves, and we have to interface with our own fears, our own, um, yeah, just whatever's blocking us. Okay, so it's so good that you're going alone. It's actually perfect because you're going to have the direct experience of being self-reliant, sovereign, and capable of seeing yourself and leading yourself through the fear of going alone. Okay, so this is amazing. And what the guides want to say to you is, um, yeah, your specific guides are sort of pointing to. I don't know if there's a it's kind of like I don't know if it's a book you're reading or something like that, but there's like something you've been considering, you've been leaning towards. I can see you actually on the plane reading this book, and it's a book about developing your spiritual practice. It's a book that's going to sort of open you up to these subjects and to invite you to go deeper within yourself. And so I feel like this, you're entering a period of like self reflection and study, right? So just learning about things. A lot of this is just lack of education, lack of exposure to spiritual concepts and ideas. Once you start reading and getting into something that is really going to impact you, um it's so strange. I mean, like, the cover of this book is like blue, darkish blue, purple. I wish I could make out the title for you. If I can later, I'll put it in the comment section. I am writing a romance novel. Okay, maybe this is the book I'm seeing. I don't know if the cover is purple or blue, but there's something about this book that I'm seeing that is like, really inviting you to deal with yourself. It's inviting you to deal with your innermost self. And perhaps that's your process as a writer, is to, allow the story to take you places within yourself that you perhaps haven't, confronted in a while, or interacted with in a while. And so this feels healing for you. Okay. So again, I see you on the plane, kind of right, with this book in front of you. And it's important that you are in this, on this journey alone. Okay. This is, even the journey that you're taking, the trip that you're taking, is important for you to take by yourself, not just the flying part of it, but where you're going and the people that you're going to interact with. I want you to pay attention to the people that you meet where you're going and the conversations that you're having. Start to make connections, BJ, between, like, what you're creating and how, like, spirit is engaging you in conversations with people that can perhaps help you on with whatever it is that you're working on or developing. Okay, so everything means something. Okay, there's no random acts in the universe. We don't just end up anywhere by accident, or in conversations by accident, or meeting people by accident. So really start paying attention to how all of this comes together for you. Okay, that's my message for the trip. And BJ says, thank you for all of your wonderful guidance. Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for being here, for sharing with our community. Beautiful. Hi, DPRSR. You are really awesome. Your work, tremendous efforts. I appreciate it. Keep doing it. Oh, cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate that reflection. Thank you for being here. Hi, Angela. Hello from Minnesota. It's a pure blessing to have found you. Oh, it's a pure blessing to have found you too. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being part of our community. Beautiful. Okay. Let me see here. We are going to, it's 6 o'clock practically. So I think we're good to wrap tonight, Lorraine. Let's talk a little bit about upcoming opportunities. We have a psychic gallery event coming up on September 14th. Or it's the Sunday. So I think that's either the 14th or the 15th. Lorraine has the link for you if you want to join us in our community. We finally set up the platform on School, which is a separate platform than YouTube. It's a more sort of interactive community where I can host classes and workshops and things like that. There's the link to join. You don't have to join the monthly membership, but you can just buy a ticket for the Psychic Gallery event, which is next weekend. A psychic gallery, for those of you that don't know, is like Oracle Hour, except we're all on screen together. And I will do a reading for the collective, and then I will give individual messages as well. And we can go deeper into deeper coaching, and you can ask questions specifically about your situation. And of course, this Patty says that's the one I registered for. Okay, beautiful. So you're going to get the information. You're going to get the information to join us. If you haven't yet received it yet, you'll get it 2 days before the event. You'll get the Zoom link to join us for the Psychic Gallery event. Okay, it's a lot of fun. Again, messages that come through are messages for the collective, and there's always a theme. And usually, members that join are usually all going through something similar. And we have a really beautiful opportunity to do some deep healing work together as a group. Okay. So I encourage you to register for that. Donna Marie says, what time is that happening? It starts at 10 a.m. So the link with the information is, where's the link? There it is. That's the link for everybody. Click on that. It will give you all the information you need. And you can buy tickets and come and join me on the live psychic gallery event. Okay, Donna Marie, I'd love to have you there, and anyone else that's coming and joining us. You get to ask questions. We get to interact on screen. It's a sort of closed, private community environment. For those of you that are shy to come on screen with me live on YouTube, this is your opportunity to do so. Beautiful. Okay. And you can also attend free through a school membership. That's right. Okay. Thank you, Lori, for reminding us. If you join the membership, then all of these events are free for you. There is a Psychic Gallery event happening in September, and there's a Mediumship Circle happening at the end of September as well. For those of you that just want to come and receive messages from your loved ones and interact with your loved ones, if you're in a grieving stage, or if you're incomplete, or if you are doing some inner child work and you want to hear from your caregivers, or you have questions for your caregivers, I highly, highly, highly recommend mediumship as a tool to receive the messages that you need for your deepest healing, for your completion, ultimately your forgiveness, being able to achieve that state of forgiveness. I believe that forgiveness is the key that opens all doors to higher states of consciousness. So if you haven't forgiven in your life, it's time to do so. Okay. And that's it for tonight. For those of you that want to come and join me in a one-to-one reading, if you didn't get your question answered, or you want to go deeper with the guidance that you received, the link to book a reading is right there. You can come in and read with me one-on-one. And otherwise, I will see you on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific for Oracle Hour. Once again, you can join me live here with your questions in the chat. It'll be my honor to channel spirit on your behalf. In the meantime, enjoy this lunar eclipse. Enjoy all this beautiful energy. Blessings for letting go of anything that no longer serves you and calling in more love, more abundance, and more peace. I love you all so much. Thank you.